Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my broadcast. Another one. I was thinking about what I was going to talk about, but I remember it's going to be about saggy pants and men wearing earrings. When I began this series of pussification, I thought it was going to be one or two topics, and I intended to just do two. And then one morning I woke up and a thought came to me, a thought into my mind and said, why don't you talk about this subject? And I thought about it, my mind began to open up and other thoughts of subject matter began to flow through my mind. And I realized that being a male, when you begin to express how you feel and you're not thinking as other males, you become an outsider, outcast. You're not one of us. You telling them secrets. But then I think about my life and how I lived my life, and it was not a perfect life. It was a life of selfishness and pridefulness and doing my own thing. But then I begin to call into question, what is my true purpose on this earth? Yes, there's nothing wrong being married, getting a job, having children, and that's fine for some people. But then there are others like myself want to make a difference. If I can touch someone, one person from this series of message, I have done my job. And realizing that, I decided to pick topics that I'm comfortable with. As I mentioned earlier, it's not about pointing the fingers. It's not a condemning message. It's not condemning a person to hell or such and such. It's about educating you with the facts. I can't make you do nothing. I can't make you think. I can't force it down your throat. I can't even uh, control what you do with it. But if you like what you heard so far, if you have not listened to any of the two previous messages, then go back and share it with your husband or your sons or your brothers, or pass it around, allow them the opportunity to hear, because we need to hear the truth. And not everyone wants the truth, and that's fine. Not everyone are in the mindset to receive the truth. They have gone off into their own mental way of thinking, and that's fine too. And then some people don't want to reveal their hidden secrets of how they struggle within their own life about their behavior. And especially being a man, it's hard for a man to go to another man to share his secrets about how he's feeling and his weakness, he because he may think that he may not get an answer, he may not be well received, or he may think every other man is going through the same thing, so therefore he keep it to himself. But this series of messages that I'm putting out there, I want to touch the lives of you, male, and then go across the female line also. A female can learn from what I'm sharing. This is not about race. It's not about physically sexual innuendos. It's not all about sex, physical sex, but is it a part of it? There are other things that can seduce us to do things to cause us to think, to question our morality, and begin to change our way of thinking just to belong, just to be a part of the group, because we don't want to be outsiders. So what happens? We become a part of the group to belong. And then when we stand out, we tend to lose friends. So allow me to share what I've learned. I've learned a lot in this series, and I came across stuff that uh, I did not know, and I'm going to point out. But we need to know the truth. So to be pussified is to be weak in your thinking, weak in your thinking that you had or is being seduced from the things you watch on television. The TV programs are not complimentary to the man. You you watch movies and you listen to music and read books that's not appropriate for you. So everything that we put before our eyes can seduce us, can tempt us to cause us to call into question how we was raised, if we were raised from a two-parent home and even a one-parent home. Everything that we do and say comes from a thought. The seed is planted within our mind. We all have a mind, and our mind is considered a womb, a spiritual womb. And therefore, we allow in, it begin to grow. We invite other same thoughts in, and so lo and behold, we become and we behave according to what we allow into our thoughts. So games, sports, advertisement, everything attacks the male mindset. And if I mentioned in the previous message, if you look at a lot of TV shows, the man is in the reverse role and the woman is more in the male role. You have girly looking male models. You have girly looking physical instructors that's a male, and then women is more in a predominant male role. Did you ever ask yourself why? Begin to do your homework. Remember, I said everything that we say or do come from the spirit world, and we just see it in our behavior. Two kinds of spirit, either God or the Satan. In whatever behavior that we have allowed to be planted within our mind, we're going to begin to do it. And we begin to do it, then we start attracting other of the same thoughts. A negative will not attract a positive. Negative will attract a negative, or vice versa. Yes, a negative may look at a positive and consider it, and then they will side, and then the negative will drop off. Excuse me, the negative will drop off. So refusing to consider what I'm saying as the truth does not exempt anyone, male or female, of any races, that they will not be touched by the consequences of their own actions. So we all are responsible for our behavior and the things that we do. So I did some homework and I came across a lot of interesting topics. Not everything on the internet is factual, but if you do your homework and you see a lot of facts, and if you have experiences support what you have learned, then it can be factual to you, and then you have to decide to do your own homework. But as I mentioned, most people will not accept truth. Excuse me. Most people will not accept the truth because they don't want to stop doing what they're doing, because they will lose friends. Family members will go against them, so they just keep to themselves and they just stay behind the closet door and partake in whatever they're doing. So the first one, I'm going to talk about the saggy pants. Saggy pants, wearing saggy pants. We call it the low pants below the waist. I've seen some individual have walking down the street with their pants all the way down to their knees, but they had a belt where they strap the belt so it won't come down, and they may have another pants underneath, and some have even have showing their underwear, and they just don't care. So belts. So where did this come from? When I had an opportunity to work in the prison system, a maximum security prison, I noticed that we used to tell these inmates to pull up their pants, and then when we walk away, they pull them down. So you see some individual walk through in prison will walk in front of you with their pants down. Sometimes they have another pair of trousers underneath, and some will not. And it's an ongoing thing. And I had never saw it on television or from movie stars or rappers or singers or even in the general public. And that, I think that was in the 80s or 91s when in the early 1991 when I saw this. And then all of a sudden it gradually seeped in through the society. And now you have young men maybe age 18 to 24, and you've had older men of various races wearing their trousers below their waist. Is it a sign of rebellion? Are they telling you something? Are they proving something? But it did originate, whether you believe it or not, from the prison system, because there's a lot of shows on TV that show you life behind bars. I can't recall the exact name and show, I think one was Scared Straight, where they inform the public what actually goes on in the prison system. And some individuals may have watched, and some may have not watched those type shows because they don't want to be nauseated or don't want to be upset, or they just feel that it's not for them. But I always share and tell anyone, never feel that something is not for you, because you may need that knowledge to help someone else. You may need the knowledge to help someone else or to educate yourself so you won't be a victim and someone can seduce you into believing certain things. And yes, belt, they don't wear belts in prison. So a lot of the pants are elastic, not a string. It's just a rubberized waistline that you just pull up and it won't come down. So it's quickly became a fad in society. And how does young people, even adults, begin to pick up a fad? They watch television shows, they go to concerts, they see their favorite singer dressed a certain way. So they identify what their they identify with the individual by the clothes and how they dress to be a part. So they rebel. And then when their mother or father try to instruct them that that is not the proper way to wear your pants, they may obey when they're in the household, but when they go to school or get out in the street in front of their friend, they may drop the trousers. But it is a sign in prison where the young man or young men, has been engaging in anal sex in prison or become someone's boyfriend in prison, and so therefore he will drop his trousers below his waist because that everyone know that that person has been belong to someone or inviting someone to come to them for sex in a later date. Yes, it does goes on in the prison system, whether a person believe it or not. And then you have the males that's in the prison system may come into the prison system, not engaging in that type of lifestyle, and eventually they may succumb to the lifestyle, even though they have a wife or girlfriend on the outside, but the wife and girlfriend will not know that they're partaking in that kind of lifestyle. So behind closed doors, their wife or girlfriend do not know what they're doing. They pretend that they're acting like a man, behaving like a man, which I will get into later. And yet on the other side, behind the closed doors that their wife or girlfriend do not see, they are doing the same thing. So the person, male of any race, who wear their trousers down, if you do not have not heard this before, then that is what you're doing. If you don't believe me, that's fine. But behind everything that we do and say, have a spirit behind it. What do I mean by that? Any invention that you see in your home where you are right now, where did it come from? You might say the store. True, but where did it originate from? It originated from the thought of an individual. Someone had an idea, they think about it, they look around and see how they can bring that idea into tuition or to bring it to get money from. So it came from a thought, and all thoughts are spirit. So anything that a person makes has the spirit behind it. And if we wear it or invite it into our life, then we attract that same spirit. We can be seduced, lo and behold, over and over, and that without realizing, we can be seduced and find ourselves partaking in in that type of lifestyle. So why do young men of any race tend to follow a fad, whether they know it or not? Where did it originate from? They may say, "Oh, I'm not gay, I'm not homosexual, I don't partake in that kind of lifestyle," and that may be true for some, but they're still entertaining because somebody that may have come out of prison or been in that lifestyle will see that person walk in the street and say, "Oh, he's one of us." And lo and behold, they might get raped in the middle of the night or whatever it may be, walking down the street, whatever, whatever, or someone will approach them in a way that think they're, you know, one of them, and then they get mad and the fight may occur because they're dressing up in a manner that somebody else know, you know, that someone else know that is wrong. I give example. If you think about the Saudi Arabians, where the women cover the veil and they wear certain clothes that only the man can see the woman, and that's their lifestyle in their country. They're not used to seeing women in bikinis and thongs and all these kind of stuff, or men, half dressed, undressed, or whatever, carrying in a certain way. So when they come to this country, they are shocked to see we as American males or females behaving and wearing and dressing in a certain way that they know in their country you will be killed, you might be thrown off a building, you may be sent to prison, your hand may be cut off, your feet may be cut off. Anything can happen to you in those countries if you was to go to those particular country and dress and carry on the way you carry on in America. So always do your homework to think. If you go to those foreign countries with your pants pulled down your waist, then what happens if you get captured and they put you in prison, they put you in jail, or they kill you, then you are responsible for what is happening to you, not someone else. It may be a form of rebellion. You may want to belong to some group. You may want to belong to uh, to whatever group in the neighborhood. You want to belong. You want to get along to get along, and yet you become an undercover, wearing my pants down below my waist individual, and yet at the same time you go home, you dress nice for the appearance, and that is still wrong. So I thought about why I'm doing this. I think about if a lot of individuals such as myself back in the day will begin to speak out, especially the churches were getting to speak out about behavior and the things that they see coming down the path, then maybe we wouldn't be in the position that we're in today. So things need to be said, hopefully helping hope hoping that we can help one individual that want to know the truth. And not everyone wants to know the truth, as I mentioned. So let it be said that you have been told, you have been warned. And you remember when I saw this, I came to mind where I saw Family Matters. Urkel, Steve used to, uh, Steve Urkel used to always wear his pants way up above his navel, and uh, and he had the suspenders on. He said, "Then I do that." And he used to talk funny and have the glasses and stuff. He always had this crush on Laura. I think it's Laura. And then she had no interest in him, and she used to push him off. He used to daydream. He just had this terrible crush. You know, she does not want a wimpy man. She did not want an unmanly man. She did not want that type of man in her life. She knew that it was not good for her. She knew that even though she liked him, she could not step across the line to date or be involved with someone that appeared or looked like that. And then another scene when Steve changed roles and he become I forgot the name he used, where he took off the glasses, he had a nice shirt on, he had a nice pants on, nice slack, and Laura just melt like butter in front of him. And that's the kind of man she wants. She want I guess you want to say a real man. I get into that in a minute. She want a man that stood for something, that stand for something, that did not dress a certain way, did not behave a certain way. He respected her appearance. He respected her. He saw something in her. He wanted to get to know her. He wanted to be involved with her. He didn't want to push her to do this or do that. He wanted to entertain her. He wanted her to fall in love with him. She had this thing for him, and he did not, and she refused to accept the other side of Steve Urkel. And he had this saying, say, did I do that? And now we have the men, some men today are saying the same thing. Did I do that? Did I wear my pants down below my waist inappropriately in front of your parents in the supermarket? I recall going into a Walmart and I saw a nice, very attractive young lady. I wish I'd been walking beside her myself. And this man had his pants below his rear end, had on white underwear, and you can actually see a stain in his underwear. And he was walking into the Walmart hand by hand. And I began to look and I say, do he have respect for himself? Do he have respect for himself? And I'm quite sure he see people looking at him. He probably said, "Well, who are them to look at me? Or this is my body. I can do what I want to do." But what's interesting that stand out was this was an attractive young lady walking with this man, and I thought about, did she not tell him, "Baby, could you please pull up your pants? You're drawing attention." Or maybe she did, and he didn't listen. Because sometimes we as males are stubborn and we don't want to listen to a female, especially if they're telling us something that's correct. We don't have to give up our manhood, our male authority, but sometimes we can learn something from a female, a woman. It's not about black or white or male or female. It's if they're speaking the truth, then we should consider what they're saying and begin to change. And so when a person is wearing his trousers below his waist, it changes his walk. He got to walk and constantly pull up the pants in the front or the back. And then some individual will wear their shoes untied. Think about it. If that individual is wanted by the police officer, he couldn't run because he'd be running staggeringly side by side, trying to pull up his pants at the same time. And what if, to say that he's a gangbanger, a wankster, a wannabe gang member, will he be walking around his pants down that way? I'm quite sure it's probably done in some gangs, but then you can't outrun the police officer that's chasing you. You can't. So it can be a sign of rebellion, a wannabe to identify with some group, to want to belong because you move in the neighborhood and you don't want to be square. It can change your behavior. It can be a symbol. I told you it's a symbol of sexuality, special among prisoners in the prison. And then when they come out and see you dressed like that way, they may think you are one of them. So we need to begin to call into question the things that we do and the things that we say before we partake in doing those things. So saggy pants may be cool for some. And then when you and I'm sure some women, don't like to see that because think about it, when we see, I'm a black male, go figure, right? When we see other black males dressed that way and we don't like it, and we express our opinion about it, then they want to fight us. They want to call us an Uncle Tom. They want to say we are racist. They want to call us all kinds of names, but we only trying to help them to say, when you go to a job, if you wearing your pants below your waist, you're not going to get that job. You can say it's the white man or so-and-so man or so-and-so woman didn't give you a job because of the color of your skin, but it's you got to dress for the part. Nobody wants to hire no one to go down. I even went into a well-known uh, business about for lunch one day, and I saw this older white male had his pants below his waist, and he had an apron on. But when he turned his back around, you could see, that his pants were below his waist, not below his waist, that you enough to see his underwear and the top of his cheeks. And so no one wants to see that. But then when people speak against it, there are some states in the United States have passed laws against that behavior. And we are quick, black individuals are quick to say, oh, it's a racial thing, or they want to punish me. No, you was not born like that. You got to learn and research the history and find out why you're doing that. Don't do something, become a group thinker. Begin to think for yourself. So you can be like a Steve Urkel saying, did I do that? Yes, you are doing the very same thing that people have done, individuals have done in the prison. And some females, as I mentioned, like that because I've seen a lot. I've even seen the females themselves with their pants below their waist, and, and they think it's cool. And I just look. I don't walk up to them and say, you shouldn't be dressed like that because it's not my place. Now, if they had to come to me and we got to talk and they ask me questions, then I would, respond to their question and say, okay, this is what the do's and don'ts. So everything has an origin. Everything have an origin. Yes, we can see TV shows and movies and sports and whatever, and individuals are wearing their trousers below their waist, and say it's cool. I'm in rebellion. This is me. Who are you to tell me what to do? But it actually makes you in a feminine position. Why? Because you're thinking being weak-minded. You're not thinking for yourself. You're identifying yourself with clothing. Excuse me, you identify yourself with the clothing, you identify yourself with being around others who are doing the same thing, and to belong in a certain group or a certain clique, you give up your own thinking and allow other people to seduce you, and then you start wearing your trousers below your waist, and then you wonder why you can't get ahead, especially if you dropped out of school and don't have a good paying job or can't get a good paying job, and you're out on the street selling drugs with your trousers and your tennis shoes unlaced, then you brought that on yourself, not your mother or your father or the white man or the Chinese man or the Mexican man. You brought it on yourself. You brought it on yourself. You begin to think. I may touch one person, they may consider what I'm saying, and they might say, I'm not doing that. You talk, that's you, man. That's your opinion, that's your belief. You do what you want to do. Okay, that's fine. I can't have no power to change your mind. But I will tell you that there's a consequences for your action. There's a consequences. If you have not realized it or put 1 plus 1 and beside it is 2, then keep on. Because when you wear pants below your waist, you will find out that you're not going to get a good job. You may not even consider going to school. Think about it. When you put on a suit and tie, it makes you feel good and proud. You see yourself in a different light. It keeps you to start thinking about, wow, what can I accomplish? What dream, what goals do I have? And I can be someone. And then you put your pants, switch scenes, man. Then you put a shirt on that's ragged or dirty or whatever it may be, and then you have your pants below your waist and your tennis shoes unlaced, and you stand in the mirror, and your dreams and goals are very limited because you have no job, a full-time job, a dependable job, because you drop out of school and you don't want to go to school. So you get some girl that may like you because you sell drugs, and you can buy her whatever she wants, and she looked the other way and she tolerates you. But you have switched roles. You have become the woman wearing your pants around your waist. And I said this last night on another message. I said, you may think it funny, but what if a fad come where men start wearing dresses out openly, going to work, walking the street? You may laugh, but we know certain movie stars have been seen on the the carpet or runway wearing dresses and be, oh, he's so cool, he's setting a trend. And no one said, that's not normal. If you have 50 people on one island and another 50 if you have 100 people on one island and you have 50 women and 50 men, if the men decide to dress up like a woman, then someone come to the island to rescue you or say, where are the men? Or say, here we go. And say, excuse me? And they probably turn around and leave the men and take the women. You know, it may happen. So never say that something is not going to come to pass because someone is saying it, you don't believe it. Think about the TVs, the VCR, the beepers, the cell phone, the iPads, you know, the smartphone, the smartwatch, anything with, you know, that came into internet came into being, you know, over the years that someone was to mention these things will come to into our lifetime, we probably won't believe them. So begin to think before you respond. Let's see. I have notes, but I learned that when I put my notes together, if I read it, continue off the paper, it kind of slow me down and I lose my focus. But if I study it and begin to do what I'm doing right now, I find myself flowing with my notes in the proper order. And that's one thing I learned. In a way, I always say, in a way, I don't like doing live broadcasts because you get nervous, you wonder how you sound or how you pronounce certain words, and you wonder if you're reaching individuals. You know, some people say, "Oh, it's too long," you know, and I thought about it before I start to broadcast. Everybody wants things quick. If it's more than 5 minutes, I'm not interested. But what if that 6 minute mean that you're going to win $1 million? What if that 6 minute mean a life and death decision in your life? So don't limit yourself to say, oh, it's too long. It's not, the book is too long. What I got to read is too long. I want to get it right now. I want to get straight to the point. Yeah, it's wrong. It's nothing wrong with getting straight to the point to a certain extent, and then come back and give the long list of how you arrived to, you know, your point of interest. But don't limit yourself in the way you think. And another, I say these topics that I pick by random, you know, I don't random, it can push buttons and cause people to get mad and say, who are you to tell me what to do? I have no power to make you do anything. I'm just educating you with the truth. You can accept it or you cannot accept it. It may not be for you. You may be too far gone in your mind and your way of your thinking. But what if somebody was to turn on their computer and go to YouTube, which I'm uploading to my YouTube website, The Hidden Tears of a Black Male, and they see something I posted, it may turn them life, they may be in a life decision making process about changing their lives. So don't shut things down. And even when we hear things, we say it's not for me. So we don't want to be interested in it. If I was giving out $1 million tonight, I'm quite sure, you know, my live broadcast and any other live broadcast would be stack up with people because they want to see if they're going to win it. But it's not about that. You know, we should not limit ourselves and say it's not about me. I don't need to know this. You know, that's him, not them. We should be uh, in a position to say, you know what, I'm going to listen. I'm going to hear what needs to be said. And I'm going to share it with my brother, my father, my in-laws, or whomever that's a man. And even I saw myself in this behavior and I want to change. So don't limit yourself in anything. Always broaden your horizon from A to Z and educate yourself. The more you educate yourself, the smarter you will be, and you might find yourself with a lot of opportunities. Yes, certain topics will be push buttons to some, and they may not like it, but think about it. If it was spoken of or people talked about it back in the day, maybe it wouldn't be a trend or a fad today. And which brings me into my other topic that men, I learned this many years ago, uh, that wearing earrings, men wearing earrings, it's not normal to see a man wearing earrings. Face it, back in the 80s, 60s, 70s, 60s, you would not catch a man, see a man wearing an earring in his ear. You wouldn't. But now today, because of the society have changed, and people say, oh, society changed, that's back in the day. Yes, back in the day, but just because it's back in the day does not make it non and void and in effect for today, because everything has a reason. So men start wearing earrings, and back in the day, in slavery days, A sign that you was a slave in ancient time meant that you had an earring in your ear. It was a sign that you belong and you belong to someone. They even sell earrings called slave earrings that I discovered in my research. So maybe again, wearing earring is a sign of slavery. Wearing earrings in your ear, maybe it's to rebel. Maybe many people think wearing an earring separate themselves. Yeah, it separate you from other people. You know, you have a man, a husband, and a wife, and both walking out on the town, and both got a pair of earrings in their ears. Duh. And everybody looking like, and they won't say anything. They keep it to themselves. So you draw attention when you wear earrings. You go on your job, go on the job interview, and you got earrings in your ear. Maybe a stud here, a stud there, or maybe a little long earring. You know what happens? They interview you. They'll be pleasant, just smile on your face. You may have all the credential there is to get the job, and they never called. You wonder why. You may say it's because of skin color, but it's because you're appearing dressed for the part. If you have to take the earring out when you go to work and take the earring out. If you're doing an interview, take the earring out of your ear and go do an interview. Not go there with earrings in your ears because you may find older people in generation of 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s do not tolerate and would not hire anyone dressed a certain way. You may call it discrimination, but they are the boss, and they won't because if they had a restaurant and tenants, people come to serve food, and they don't want to see that because everyone has. Why should 5%, just throwing out a number, why should 5% of the people force their belief on you and I when we don't agree with it? And then when I don't agree with it or you don't agree with it, then you're going to call me a racist or whatever, because I don't agree. I should accept your behavior. No, I can think for myself. I don't want to think along a way of group thinking. So Pearson begins, it's in 1960, ear piercing began to enroll among men through the hippie and gay community, although they have been popular among sailors for decades. Traditionally, a right side piercing identified man as gay and the left side is straight. That I did not know. I remember a female told me that she knew that when you see a man with a earring in his ear, the right side mean that he's gay and the other side mean he's straight. And then you know, both sides pierce is also commonly represented as gay, though it has modified. So you can have a left and a right, one signify you're straight, one signify you're gay, and you can have both and you signify that you're gay. But I can hear people thinking, well, I'm not gay and I'm not this. And you may not be gay. You may not be engaged in any kind of sexual activity with the opposite sex, and that's fine. But I'm not here to condemn anyone for that particular lifestyle. We all have family members that are doing things that we may not agree with. That's them. We don't have to partake in it. We don't have to associate. We don't have to hang out with them. But we need to hear the truth. Sometimes when we hear the truth must be said and spoken of by telling all of it, not bits and pieces or in between the truth. We need to say what needs to be said. And you think, and I mentioned earlier in the thing, earrings were traditionally worn for females. A female or maybe a man thought about it and they invented it and they make millionaire rich today. So it is symbolized with females. And I'm quite sure maybe in some foreign countries, I don't know, I haven't been there, where men wear earrings, but it's a sign of slavery. It's a sign of your sexuality. And when you start dressing and wearing things that belongs to women, then you are attracting that spirit that brought forth and created that item, and you put on your face or you put on your nose, or which I get into, or you put on your ears and you drop your pants and start walking, you are inviting the spirit behind that. If you don't believe me, for those of you who are doing it, you will eventually, sooner or later, you start picking up a feminine way of thinking, a feminine way of responding, a feminine way of how you walking and addressing yourself. Why? Because you have changed, you have given up your manhood. You have slowly been effeminated with the thoughts. You're being seduced with the thought that, oh, I look good. I look good with these earrings on. I look good with my pants down below my waist. But yet, other individuals that see you don't desire to be around you, don't want to be a part of it, don't even want to see you. And and you can justify all you want, but with your justification of it's nothing wrong with it, you're still going to reap the consequences for what you are doing. So think about it next time. And as I mentioned, we all think about things, but when we think about things, we follow, some individuals follow the fad of what they see on TV or what their favorite rapper or singer uh, is dressed like. So society among the young men has no identity within themselves. They have no role model. They have no role model to follow after. So they dress to impress. They dress because the guys and the kids in the neighborhood are dressed a certain way. They follow the behavior of other individuals, and so they never create an identity for themselves. They have them in, so they're always switching. Next year may be something else. Next year may be something else. And now we see I've seen little children, walking, talking age. Parents have taken them to the store because they got to get permission and sign off and giving them earrings in their ears because they look good. And they wear, some children wear their pants below their waist. The only time you see, think about it, it's funny. The only time you and I in our lifetime probably wore our pants below our waist is when we were little babies and we had the pampers on, or we may have diapers on, and we may poop in our underwears or little and whatever, and the pants below our waist, and the mom can see and say, pull up your pants or something, or pull your pants up for you. So yes, when we was growing up, we all experienced walking with our pants below our waist, and individuals may not like it, but it's the truth. Everything has a reason, everything has a cause. Everything that we see on TV, we should not gravitate to. We should do our homework first. And if we decide to accept it and be a part of it, then that's still your choice. But don't be group thinking. I remember I called talking to this young lady, and she said, "You know what, Anthony? It's nice to talk to someone that is an independent thinker. I'm tired of talking to people with a group thought. They have no idea. They don't have a right and wrong. They don't have their own concept. Their conscience is dead. Their conscience is, not broad. They only limit themselves to group thinking, group thinking, group thinking, group thinking. They don't want to make choices unless the group tell them to do so. It's almost like uh, uh, everyone in the village should follow the chief and not no one thinking. We all should begin to think as an individual, decide, yes, like I said, you can hear this message, you may see nothing wrong, and that's still your choice. But it is the truth. And everything does come with a consequence. Race does not race, I'm sorry, a consequence is not governed by somebody's race. You can be black, white, Mexican, Chinese, Jewish, or whatever. We all going to experience consequences for the things that we do or choose not to do or choose to partake in. A lot of things that we are experiencing in our lifetime right now, did you ever think that what you're going through may be associated with wearing earrings, having your pants below your waist, or whatever you have done over the lifetime? We never think of that. We just say, oh, I'm having bad times or things happening to me, for whatever reason, and we may justify racing because I'm a male, I'm a female, and we say that's why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. But no, that's not why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. We need to begin to look in the spiritual mirror of self and say, do the earring define me? Is wearing my pants below my waist define me? Am I associated with this stuff because I want to belong? Has it prohibited me from getting a good paying job? Have it prohibited me in the way of my thinking? You can't say wearing earrings and wearing your pants below your waist does not affect your thinking, then something is wrong with your thinking. How? Because when you wear your pants below your waist, it does affect your thinking because you got to always constantly pull your pants up. You not knowing that, like I mentioned, the female that I saw walking with this male and his pants were below his waist and you can see his underwear, that does affect other people thinking that look at you because they say, wow, they call into question your way of thinking. And it didn't happen overnight. Most men who dress and behave that way has been seduced from the thoughts from friends, family members, things that they see on TV, books they have read, being want to belong to people, want to belong. So some men have enslaved themselves mentally to being pussified, that which means knowingly or unknowingly. What I mean by pussified, as I mentioned earlier, they have become weak in their minds. It's not about sex. We always say, a man, like I mentioned in my first message, a man engaging in sex and engaging in sex, and his homie say, man, you let that woman weaken you in bed. He's not saying the weaken in the sexual behavior. He's saying you have been weakened in your way of thinking. You're not thinking like a man. You're responding in a girlish way. You're not doing the things as a man should do. You're behaving in a way that's not normal for a man. And my next topic is men wearing nose ring. I just added this tonight, and I thought about it because you ever went on the highway and you see a cow with a nose ring, or a cattle with a nose ring, or sometimes they have something on the ear. I think that the little tag on the ear indicate what farm and they're on and who they belong to. And then you have so man learned from early man learned a long time ago. If you want to control an animal, you put a ring, something in their nose, something under their tongue, and you will control the animal. When I used to ride a horse, I used to put a bit in that horse's mouth, and that bit would press on their tongue every time you pull the rein. He would go left or right, back up, or go fast. And would stop when you say stop. Without that rein in that horse's mouth, you could not control the horse. Now we have individuals with piercing and stud in their tongue because they look cool, and for whatever reason, that's another topic. And it does control their behavior because they have to watch what they eat. They have to always take it out. So it's a form of control. So I picked the three. You have a bull who have a nose ring to control them. If you do a metaphor and say, a ring in my nose, does it control me? I'll let you answer that question. A ring in your nose, I'm talking about right here, does it control you? You may say no, but I beg to differ. Cattle wear rings they call a weaner ring. A weaner ring is for dairy cattle to wean them off milk, to say they're not drinking and consuming milk. Then I thought about it, I say, a man or woman that has a ring in their nose, what are they being weaned off from? The truth. They have believed that it's okay, it's healthy for them. But if they get in a fight, if you get in a fight with someone, what's the first thing they'll go for? The piercing on your body. They rip it out your nose or do something. We know when women fight, they go for the hair. They go for the hair. So do you think they're gonna leave that ring in your nose alone? No. So they can rip it out. It may cause you. It could be a life and death situation. You can get an infection, you get a disease, or whatever. So a lot of individuals are being weaned off of the truth from the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. They no longer want to accept the truth. So that's what I associate that ring. And then you have the pigs. A pig wear a ring on his nose, and the owner put the ring on the pig nose to keep him from digging in the dirt, because pigs are known to dig in the dirt to look for food and whatever. If you think about it, we as individuals, those of us individuals who have ring in their nose, I say, how can I apply that to us today, anyone today? When a person have a ring nose in their nose, they're not digging. They can't dig for the truth. They can't dig in their mind for the truth because they have prohibited themselves by the ring nose, because they're not digging. Just like the pig would dig in the ground with his nose to smell, to find something, a person who has a nose ring, spiritually speaking, is not digging in their mind, because when they look in the mirror, it look good. So they don't go past the mirror of life and self to see the danger, the consequences, the lack of getting employment or whatever, the lack of relationship. and whatever, because a lot of people don't want to be involved or be around an individual who dressed that way. So those three analogy can apply to each one of us. If you think about, the bull, the cattle, the pigs, and now human beings, some human have decided that they're going to wear rings, that they're going to wear rings for personal reasons, and wearing the ring, that it should be accepted by all and not denied. So, excuse me. So when individuals are saying that they don't agree, or they don't like, or they don't want to be, or they don't want to associate with you, or they're not interested in you because how you dress or how you carry yourself, then that it is a choice. And then we have the last thing I'm going to talk about, the real man. We always say, no, he's the real man. There's a real man. I saw an article say real men wear earrings. Real men wear earrings. So I guess I'm not a real man because I'm not wearing earrings. I'm not wearing a nose ring. Nose ring, as I mentioned, is considered a sign that you belong to someone. It's a sign of slavery. Do your homework. You may say, I'm not a slave because I wear an earring in my nose or earrings on my ears, left or right, because I'm a man. But in some countries, even today, as I'm talking to you, is a sign that you belong to someone. I mentioned about the left and right ear. One, I think the right is straight, left is gay, or both is a sign of you are like men. So everything has a history. You can be in rebellion against your parents or society, and that's your choice. But everything has a history behind it, and we need to do our own research. And I mentioned earlier that females are not exempted from what I'm talking about. Everything that we do and say come from the spiritual world. Our behavior and things we do attract other things upon us. It's drawn to what we are doing. I have no control to make you change your mind to believe that I'm telling you the truth or not believe I'm telling you the truth. You're going to get what you believe. So back to the real man. What is a real man? Let's set the record straight. Let's set the record straight. I'm gonna name a few things. What is a real man? Is a real man mean I'm sitting before you and I'm a real man because I can raise my hand and breathe and I'm a real man? Is this bottle a real bottle? Yes, because I can see it. So what is a real man? What defines a real man? I say a character, not a color of your skin does not define a real man. What defines a real man? And here is my example. He lives and respects his woman for who she is. He doesn't try to change her. If he sees there's an issue with her, they come together, especially if you're married, you come together and come to discuss what's the problem. He commits fully to the marital relationship. He commit fully to the marital relationship. He don't drop his trousers. He only drop his trousers. He's only drop his pants for his wife. He does not drop his trousers and his pants for another woman. And he does not physically and mentally beat up his wife. He does not abandon his children for another woman and move in with that woman or take care of that woman. He does not commit adultery. He does not give up his male authority or his manhood. He teaches his children how to respond, how to behave, how to live in society, how to communicate. He leads by example and he takes responsibility for himself. And he's not too proud to say, I need to go to marital counseling. I need to go to a counselor because I'm addicted to alcohol, drugs, sex, pornography, or whatever you can think of. These are some of my examples, and you probably have some yourself. That's what I consider a real man in the way he's thinking. He has decided that he's not going to be falling to the pussification of America males. He's not going to be pussified. He's not going to be intimidated, dressing and acting like a female. As I mentioned earlier, this series is not about pointing the fingers, condemning anyone. It's to educate you because if you think about it, if we were educated long time ago, then this country would not be in the situation it is in today. Is it too late? I don't know. But how will I know only time will tell. We as individuals need to begin to call into question our own lifestyle, our own lifestyle. Yes, we can be happy with it. Yes, we can receive the little cookies and crumbs that come with it, but does it make it right? Does it make it right? I've seen why the pussification of the American male. There's a lot of talk shows on TV where the wife or the female will go on the talk show and say, my man left me for another woman. My man's gay, my man impregnant, he sleep with my sister, my girlfriend, my babysitter, my mom, or whatever. You always see those type shows where women are going on the show expressing how she feel about her man's behavior. You say, wow. But you rarely see a show where a man come on there and say, you know what? My wife is beating me up physically and emotionally, which is going to be another topic I'm going to be discussing. Because very rarely when I was a police officer that I got a call where a man is saying that I called because my wife have beaten me up or my girlfriend. And I share that the next time if I decide to speak about that. I have other topics I'm going to select from, and that may be one of them. So it's very rare that you see, because most men, like I say, especially black males, because I'm black and I'm sharing from my perspective, and it can cross the line of other colors too. They're not one to go to another man because they think all men are like that. They don't want to admit their weaknesses to another man because man says, "Man, you a wimp, man. You a wimp. You're not acting like a man. You acting like a girl, man. You girlish, man. You crying. You doing this and that." So they keep it to themselves and they repress their feelings. They repress their feelings because they're afraid to go because of a bad experience. They may not go to another man. So young men in any given neighborhood need to begin to look for a mentor that they can trust, a mentor that will listen to them, a mentor will give them good advice, a mentor will tell them, stop it, don't do that, a mentor that will put their foot down, a mentor that will always be there for them if they want to talk. Because some individuals, males, will end up killing themselves. And we see it all the time on Facebook where you see individuals have committed suicide. Teenager girls and males have committed suicide because they was bullied, on social media or bullied in school. And I wonder, did they talk to their parents? Or was they afraid to admit to their friends how they really felt? Because a lot of individuals have put up a mirror of I'm all this and that, but deep down behind closed doors, they're hurting mentally. And so what they're out, they end up killing themselves through medicine or drugs or whatever. So if you like what you heard, share it with your brothers, your fathers, your friends, your family. Even give it to a woman. I don't care. Give it to any young man, share it with other males, and let them hear it. And they may see themselves in it. And always remember, I have no power to make you believe me. I have no power to force this down your throat. If you like what you heard, share with other individuals and allow them the opportunity to hear, to see, to call into question their behavior. And they may not, and they may accept it, and they may change their lifestyle. But with every operation come a surgery, come a pain, come removing something that's causing you a problem. So until then, I will upload just on YouTube. My YouTube channel is The Hidden Tears of a Black Male. The Hidden Tears of a Black Male. You go there and you see other videos that I upload. And if you like what you saw on my YouTube channel, please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button and share it with your friends. So thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. And until we meet again on social media, take care.